The first time I saw George, a friend of mine's who was a very colorful character, who was not one of my fellas, but he was so likable you couldn't run from him. And he used to wear strange colors, and of course I was with a crew that loved to dress in suits and things like that, but I could never shun him. And one day, which was one of the baddest times of my life, I was at home contemplating all kinds of things that, ways of getting solution to problems I was having, and my door rang. And I opened the door, and here's this colorful character. And he's really dressed colorful this particular day. I mean, the plaids and the orange polka dots was doing something else, and he had a cane. And he says, "Hey, man, you want to come with me?" And I says, "Look, man, I ain't got no time for your..." And he says, "Hey, look, man, I can see that look in your eye. If you come with me, I promise you you'll be fine." And I looked at him and I said, "Man, I done did every bad thing you could do to oneself. I couldn't go no worse than to hang out with him. So, yo, man, wait a minute, let me go get my hat." And I wound up at the Apollo. And this night was the landing of the mothership. Now, I've had glimpses of the mothership, and remember, I'm from New York, and New York was always not on time when it came to funk music. I've known people who would travel to Washington to see funk music from New York because it didn't come here. No one was excited about it here. And I said, okay, this can't be that bad. And I remember sitting there at the Apollo after the show was supposed to start at 12 o'clock, and I was sitting here, and it was 1 o'clock, and there was nobody on stage, and people didn't seem to be bothered. It was crowded, No one seemed to be bothered that the show didn't start yet. And I'm looking at my man, and I'm saying, yo, man, what is this, man? Is this some kind of, is somebody taking me for my money? Because I don't pay my money, and there's nobody on stage, and everybody's having a good time anyway. And then all of a sudden, the Black National Anthem came on in a keyboard, very subliminal, very dark. And one by one, members of this group came on stage to play their instruments. I mean, first the drum came in and he was playing by himself. And then all of a sudden the guitar. And the people, the members of this group, they were like they were hanging out backstage and just all of a sudden say, "Oh man, let's go out here and just do something." And one by one, they built up on this beat, coming casually from backstage. And when it hit, the first thing that happened when this man walked on stage, he said, "Tear the roof off the mother sucker, tear the roof off." And this place went berserk. And I sat here and I felt this. I said, "Damn." And at the end of the song, George says, "Yo," he said, "now I know I had y'all waiting. And this is New York, and I know y'all want to hear that Atomic Dog, beep." And he said one thing: if y'all show some love right now, what I'll do to compensate y'all being here, sitting here waiting, is that we'll be in this MF for all night long. This is the day I became a clone. This is the day that I felt Sir Nose devoid of funk. This was the day that I knew that music as a culture was larger than reality itself. Now, you might think I'm pulling your leg and giving you all this hype, but I'm serious. From this moment on, I wound up, now this was a Sunday night, and these people who were already late, right, into a show, you knew that if that show started at 12, everyone was planning to get home so they could wake up to go to work the next day. Do you know that all of us piled out of this place at 9 o'clock the next day? I'll never forget it because I had this bad leather shirt, man, that I thought was the hottest shit. It took me a while to get, and I lost all the buttons on that shirt because I partied so hard. Lo and behold, you would never know what was about to happen 4 years later. Because 4 years later, being a minute after hip-hop started, me, after seeing Run DMC for the first time in concert, is when I recognized the idea of the philosophy of funk music and dropping a message was born. From that came what I'm proud to be a member of, called a group called X Clan. So if you're going to ask me how many times what George mean to me, I don't think I can give you the ultimate example. Well, wait a minute, maybe I can. Me being brother man in a world, in a woman's world, it's almost as great as sex what George Clinton means to the rhythm of my sound, my being, my feeling, and my impulse to express freedom on a planet where there's so much slavery, so much capital slavery.